Palabra hier que tudo se na punguine lo palabra no é tudo o que tá que aí o muito é tudo mas que veio que kens que punguine. The Honourable Kevin Rudd, Prime Minister of Australia, the incoming Chair, Pacific Island Forum. Honourable Leaders, representatives of the Government of Australia, the Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Forum, Tuiloma Naroni Slade, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth Secretariat, Presidents of New Caledonia and French Polynesia, the President of the Asian Development Bank, distinguished representatives of Forum observers, distinguished representatives of development partners, heads of crop agencies, people of Australia, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from Niue and the Pacific, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this morning during this auspicious occasion marking the opening of the Pacific Island Forum in 2009. Thank you, Kevin, for the wonderful arrangements that have been made by yourself and the people of Australia, and particularly the people of Cairns. Since our arrival here, I must say, to a significant and very important forum this year. Much has happened in our region in the last year during my tenure as chair of the Pacific Islands Forum. The onset of the global financial crisis imposed the region new challenges to our governments and peoples. This is a crisis with devastating implications for our national and regional prosperity. Already the fundamentals of our economies, including national abilities for revenue generation, has been severely impacted and affected. Falling remittances and weakened export demand have affected the performances of our external sectors, while within local economies, low production in the real sector has forced many job losses. It makes it worse that our small geographic and economic boundaries limit fiscal policy space, denying for many of us opportunities for implementing stimulus packages that are available elsewhere. In this regard, I endorse the views that any meaningful assistance by our development partners must therefore largely constitute direct budgetary support. I'm grateful, as I'm sure all our leaders are, that the theme for this year's forum focuses on the global economic crises, which hopefully will pave the way for increased attention to the necessity for collective actions to effectively address this calamity. On climate change, the leaders' commitments and the new declaration expressed the region's collective aspirations for effective actions to be taken at national and regional and international level. This is a real problem, and one which is not reversed, which if not reversed, threatens all our livelihoods. Because we are all affected, the whole world is affected, it serves our common interest to therefore continue to push for increased global action on climate change. I would imagine that we must hasten our preparations to ensure that we can aspire a better successor to the Kyoto Protocols in Copenhagen in 2012. For all of us, climate change will remain a persistent issue. It will not go away. The costs to both the developed and undeveloped countries, both socially and economically, will persist for as long as we don't take appropriate action to help ourselves. While all of us are affected, the situation for small island states is quite worrisome. For them, for us, choices such as resettlement must be seriously considered. and I wonder whether the forum is ready to commence formal discussions on this matter. At the political level, the Pitakawa Declaration for Change has changed the lives of the citizens of the Solomon Islands under Ramsey and under Pran for citizens of Nauru. Thanks largely to the fine leadership by the Australian government and support extended by New Zealand and all the participating countries. And I must say that all the Pacific Islands have contributed in their own ways towards Ramsey. And I am very pleased indeed that these efforts have been made to help a brother country in their time of need. Both these regional cooperative interventions, in particular Ramsey, have won admiration from other international organizations, including the United Nations. Against all this admirable success, the Fiji situation remains a concern. The regime which assumed power illegally has clearly refused to adhere to the leaders' requirements imposed on Fiji when leaders met at Port Moresby in January this year. As a direct consequence of non-compliance, Fiji has been suspended from participating in any forum meetings as from the 2nd of May this year. We are deeply concerned for the welfare of the citizens of Fiji and remain ready to assist Fiji return to democracy, but will not accept a prolonged rule by the regime. The self-imposed roadmap for elections to be held in 2014 is unacceptable and is strongly denounced. Perhaps citizens of Fiji must now rise to the challenge the undemocratic rule of the military regime and restore democracy for the sake of the future of their children. After all, the people of Fiji must also take responsibility for the reconstruction and the future and their own destiny. Our regional cooperation, the Pacific Plan implementation is progressing reasonably well. The collaborative assistance extended by crop agencies, national governments, and the development partners to support the implementation of the plan has allowed for this good progress. The trade initiatives are understandably stalling, but we should see some progress after the leaders' meeting this year. And I note that at the meeting yesterday, our thinking is that we should not agree to something which may not be perfect, but agree to something that will make all our lives better into the future. Despite all the difficult period that I have been chair of the forum, I am pleased that we are still making good progress with the implementation of the Pacific Plan. I acknowledge this role, the role of the crop agencies, our development partners, and national governments in making this success possible. With so many challenges ahead, the leadership of the former chair will be critical, and we are all pleased and assured that the Prime Minister Rudd is assuming that role. Under his leadership, the forum will rise to these challenges and will be stronger to continue to service the needs of the membership and the people of the region. As I pass over the chairmanship to Prime Minister Rudd, I must extend warm gratitude to the Secretary General, to Ilonga Neroni Slade, and his staff for ably supporting me during my tenure as chair. It was a difficult time as we grappled with the Fiji issue, but thankfully the guidance and efficiency of the services lent to me by the Secretary General assured me I was able to fulfill my responsibilities as chair. I congratulate him for remarkably settling in quickly into his role as Secretary General following the appointment his appointment in Niue last year. In a short time, he has achieved much, and I am proud to have benefited from his excellent service. I do wish him and his staff very well in the service to the region. Finally, may I take this opportunity also to thank my fellow colleagues for the support and unity they have shown during my tenure, and for the honour to be of service to the region in my capacity as Forum Chair. It was a great honour for me personally and for the people of Niue. Rawela.